All right, so for this game, looks like we have a standard kind of sequencing game. We have 7 positions to work with, so we'll set this up accordingly. And we have 7 elements as well, F, G, H, I, and then we've got K, L, M. Now, worth noting, there's nothing kind of out of the ordinary here. We just have 7 straight positions, 7 elements. Everything is just going to go exactly once. And then from there, I guess we can go into the rules. So the first rule tells us that G has to go immediately before K, so we end up with sort of this GK block. Next, we are told that H has to go at some point before K, but cannot be first. Ooh, so there's a bit going on there. So first of all, H is before K, which is nice because we have a GK block. So we can say that the H is going to have to go before the GK block. But moreover, H can't go first. So I guess what we can do is we can say that before the H, we still have to have someone. So we kind of get a nice little chain of there's going to be someone, then you're going to have an H, and then you're going to have a GK block. That said, though, that's still pretty flexible because the GK block could potentially go as late as, or rather as early as, I guess 4 potentially, or even 3. We could have a G in 3 and then the K in 4, and as long as the H is in 2, that's still kind of workable. So we have flexibility. Let's keep going. So the third rule, I and L have to be consecutive. Now we can't really connect them in, but we can just say that we're going to have an IL block somewhere, and I'll put a double-sided arrow to show they can flip. Now that could kind of get in the way with the GK block, but it's kind of hard to put your finger on what exactly. Let's keep going. M has to be among the first 3. So M has to be in 1 or 2 or 3, and we can leave a little reminder here that M has to be among these 3 positions. Now, that might kind of get in the way for the kind of chain that we had here. Although actually, no, I suppose that it wouldn't, because even if we do something like G and K and then H goes into 2, M could be the mystery person who goes into 1. So that's still kind of flexible. I guess let's keep going. Last rule, F has to be first or last. So I guess that's also pretty open, isn't it? Obviously, you can't go anywhere in the middle. And if it goes first, then it's going to restrict the M, but still, that's situational. It's still pretty open. So you know what? Let's see what we can do. It seems like this chain is probably going to be the heavy lifter in this game, but I guess let's go to the questions. The first question asks, number 6, what could be the complete setup? So as usual, we just go by the rules. First rule, we have to have a GK block. So going down the line, answer choice A already gets disqualified. B, C, D, and E all look good. Next, H has to go before the K, so between B through E. B looks good, C looks okay still, D looks good, and E, actually, yeah, these all look fine. So let's keep going. I and L must be consecutive. B looks okay, C looks okay, D has them separated, so we can get rid of answer choice D, and E has them next to each other, so we're good. Next, M must be among the first 3. So B is good, C is good, E is good as well, it seems like. Let's keep going. Last rule, F has to be first or last. So answer choice B is still legit. Answer choice C is good as well. Answer choice E, however, has F, well, not first or last, so we can get rid of answer choice E. So it seems like we still have answer choices B and C. Maybe we missed something. Oh yeah, the fact that H is before K, but it still can't be first. That would get rid of answer choice B. There we go. And that leaves us with answer choice C as the best answer here. As usual, let's just quickly plug that into the board. We have ILM, and then we've got HGKF. Next, first local question, number 7, says, if I is immediately before G, so if we have to have what is essentially an IG block, well, we know that, ooh, this is pretty good. So the GK block obviously has to still exist, so that's going to be there. But then the IL block, I guess L will have to go right before the I. So we have this huge block, and then we have to have an H before it, and that's not going to go first either. So, I mean, really, there's not a lot of maneuverability for this, is there? The earliest we could do the LIGK block would be in 3, I suppose. and then you would have to have H and M in 1 and 2, and that would run L, I, G, K. Or I suppose we can do 4, 5, 6, and 7, and that would push the F into 1. You know what, maybe this is enough information, and if it's not, we can always split the board if we have to. So the question now asks, what could be true? Answer choice A, G is 4th. Could we run G in 4? And if we have G in number 4, you would have to have I and L and H in 1, and that's not cool, so we cannot do that. Answer choice B, could we have H in 4? Well, no, that's way too many things after. If H is here, there's no way to fit L, I, G, K, so that's out. Can we do I in 3? And no, that comes back to the other point. If I goes here, L will go here, and H will go first, which is not cool. Answer choice D, can we do L in 2? Same problem, L2 would force H1, which we cannot do. E, can we do M3? Maybe. I think that would, if we do M over here, then we can do L, I, G, K, and then F would go 1, and then H would go 2. That seems okay. Best answer to question number 7 is E. Next, question number 8, Global. We'll come back to this one in a second. Let's take a look at number 9. If M is second, well, if M goes second, I suppose we can just use the same scenario that we had here. What does that tell us? Well, let's talk about that GK and H setup. Actually, there's quite a bit of flexibility there, couldn't there? Because the GK could go as late as 6 and 7, and then the H can move around a little bit. Although that does raise the question of who could go first right now, because this is kind of alone, isn't it? Because we can't have H there. Oh, and we can't have the IL block either, and we obviously can't have the GK block. Does that just leave us with F? We have F, G, H, I, K, L. Yeah, that's everybody. So F would have to go into the first position, so that's kind of nice. Otherwise, I guess let's see what we can do. The question asks, what cannot be true? Answer choice A, H is 3rd, and that seems okay. If the H goes over here, then we have room for GK and IL in the remaining positions. I don't see an issue. Answer choice B, could we have H in 4th? Oh, that's going to run into a problem, because if you put H over here, then you just end up with 2 blocks, right? The GK and the IL, and there's no way to make that work. So that cannot be true. The best answer to question number 9 is B. Just in case though, answer choice C, H is in 5, that could work. If H goes here, then the GK block goes 6 and 7, and then I and L could flip between 3 and 4. Answer choice D, G is in 4th, and again, if GK goes into 4 or 5, H would just go into 3, which is okay, and then I and L would flip between 6 and 7. Answer choice E, G is in 6, and we kind of talked about this one too. If we have a GK block in 6 and 7, we can easily fit H, I, and L among those 3, so that would also work. So once again, best answer here was B. Next, number 10 is a modifier. We'll come back to this one in just a moment. Let's go back to question number 8. So the question here is basically what would completely lock down the game, what would fully determine the setup if we knew it. So I guess let's take a look. Answer choice A, G goes 4th. Now, if we had the G in 4th, what would that, I mean, G and K would have to go into 4 and 5, obviously. But that seems kind of open, doesn't it? Because, I mean, M and H, for example, they could seemingly shuffle pretty easily between the first 3 positions. I mean, obviously H can't go first, but still, that doesn't seem all that restrictive. Let's keep going. Answer choice B, H is in 2nd. Now, if H is in 2nd, again, that still leaves things open, doesn't it? Because, I mean, IL can always flip wherever they go, and there seems to be options for the first positions. I'm not really seeing what this is doing. Let's keep going for now. Answer choice C, I is 2nd. Now, if we put the I into 2, I mean, the L could still flip between 1 and 3, seemingly. In fact, if we put M among the first 3 positions, then yeah, you could have I over here, and then L and M could easily just flip, and that doesn't seem like it would do much. Answer choice D, L is 1st. Ooh, that's pretty good. So if we put L into 1, then I gets forced into 2, which then forces M into 3, and then F would have to go 7. Yeah, this is actually pretty good. So let's just run that just to make sure. If we have Li here, I would be forced into 2 because these guys are next to each other. M has to be among the first 3, so M gets forced into 3, and then F is going to go into either 1 or 7, so F is going to have to go into 7, And that just leaves us with the H, G, and K into 4, 5, 6, and that would lock the game. So the best answer to question number 8 is D. Next, number 10. So for this question, this is one of the rule replacement questions. So this is asking us to replace the rule that says that H is before K, but also not first. So there's quite a bit going on here. So we're trying to replace, the H before K, but also not first kind of rule. I guess let's see what we can do. Answer choice A. If F is 7th, then H would have to go into 2nd. Now, that actually never had to be true, so that's a kind of an easy disqualifier, because we've had several situations where F was in 7th and H was in fact in 4th, so that didn't have to be true. That's a good enough reason to get rid of answer choice A. And just as a reminder, for these kind of questions, a good answer choice is going to meet 2 parameters. You're going to have something that always had to be true, and also something that, if it was true, would ensure this rule would be maintained. So answer choice A entirely fails the did it have to be true parameter. Next, B. G is after H, and either F or M is first. Now, G obviously had to go after H, but you'll notice F or M didn't have to go first. We've had L in the first position, so this is, again, a good enough reason to get rid of B. Next, H has to go somewhere between 1 and 6. Now that's technically true. H did have to go somewhere between 1 and 6 because it couldn't go first and it could never go last because of the GK block. But the thing is, this doesn't seem like it would do all that much, because even if we say that H has to be somewhere between those positions, that could easily allow for H, for example, to go into 6, and then F could go into 7, and then H wouldn't have to go before the GK block. In other words, this wouldn't be enough to ensure the original rule would be maintained. Yes, it had to be true, but it wouldn't guarantee what we needed to do. So C also looks like it's going to get disqualified. Next, unless H is second, it must be between M and G. Ooh, this is a big one. So if H is not second, it would have to go between M and G. Now, first of all, is that true? And I mean, if H wasn't second, then I suppose it would have to go third or later, because obviously it couldn't go into 1. So if H wasn't second, actually I suppose then that is a technically true statement. If H wasn't second, it would have to go in number 3 or later, but then if H is in number 3, then M would go into the first 2 positions. So no matter what, any time H was not second, then it would have had to be after M and before G. So that meets the did it have to be true question. But then the other question is, would this ensure that the rule will be maintained? Now, first of all, we have to address 2 possibilities. This rule tells us what happens if H wasn't second, but we also have to worry about what would happen if it was second, although that's a little bit easier, because if H was second, then obviously it would go before the GK block, because there's no way to fit the GK block before it. So that's actually all good. So the possibility where H was second entirely isn't an issue, because H would be before the GK block. But what if H wasn't second? So according to this rule, anytime H is not second, it has to go between M and G. And actually, yeah, that would get the job done, because the thing is, if H has to go in between M and G, and M is stuck among the first 3 positions, then there's no way that you would ever end up with something like the GK block and then H and then M. This would be impossible because M has to go among the first 3. So by telling us that H would have to go between M and G, it ensures that what you'll have is M before H before the GK block, which ensures that essentially H will go before the GK block. So this gets the job done. This ensures that no matter what, H is going to go before the GK block. And actually, additionally, because H has to go after M, it would also never go first, so it takes care of that as well. And it always had to be true, so that works. The best answer to question number 10 is D. For the record, answer choice E, just in case. K is sometime after H, but which must be after F. So hang on. So K is after H, which itself must be after F. Now, that never had to be true because you'll notice that F could have been at number 7. So since this never had to be true, this would have been a good enough reason to get rid of it. And that leaves us once again with the best answer to number 10 being answer choice D.